Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hello everyone, my name is Joshua Rosen. I'm a full-time software engineer, indie dev on the side. My latest project is a game called End of Garbage. It should be out on Steam by the time you hear this. It's a short, surreal, first-person puzzle game. Takes about an hour to finish. You can also check out my website, joshuarosen.games, if you want to see some of my other projects. I've got some free games up on there. So the game that I'll be talking about today is called A Hand with Many Fingers, developed by Colestia. I don't know if a ton of people know about this game. I can't even remember where I heard about it, but it came out in 2020, and I probably played it, I want to say around 2 years ago. It's a small, short indie game by a solo dev, so close to my heart. And it's a first-person kind of investigative deduction game about unraveling this global conspiracy. If you're like me and you're a fan of movies like All the President's Men, The Parallax View, The Conversation, those kinds of 1970s political intrigue, paranoid thriller movies, then this video game will be perfect for you. I am the exact target audience for this kind of thing. So just to be clear up front, I'm not going to spoil the game at all. I'm just going to give the basic setup, the gameplay mechanics, talk about why I think it's great, and if it sounds like something that you might be interested in, I'd recommend checking it out. It's usually, I think, like $5 on Steam, and I think it probably took me like an hour and a half, I think, to finish it. So A Hand with Many Fingers. Right when the game starts, it shows a message saying that it requires you to take notes, ideally on pen and paper, which I love that it's just upfront about that and just gives you an idea of what kind of game you're about to play. So you start in this empty archive room with filing cabinets of documents surrounding you. It's late at night, you're clearly alone. There's some music coming out of a nearby room, and if you follow the source of the music, you're led into this office where a radio is playing and a TV is on, and the TV is showing this speech from President Reagan using real footage of a speech of his. And then there's this small little window showing the dark street outside. And there's a file box on the desk in the office, and inside of it are a handful of documents that you can pull out and pin to a corkboard in the office. After you've pinned some documents to the corkboard, you can connect any two documents with this red twine to form that classic image of the conspiracy web of photos and letters and documents across this corkboard, and it grows as the game continues and you uncover more and more documents. To uncover more documents, you have to do some research and find more in the archives. There's a poster on the wall that tells you how to perform research. You go through the following steps. You write down the location, the year, and the name of what you want to investigate. Then you leave your office and go into the atrium where there's a bunch of cabinets. So you find the cabinet that corresponds to your location. And then you find the drawer in that cabinet that matches your year. And then in that drawer, you have to flip through a bunch of index cards until you find the name. That index card will have reference numbers on it, and those numbers correspond to boxes in the basement of the archive. So then you have to go over to the basement and find the matching box and then bring it up from the basement to your office. And now you can pull out the documents and add more to the corkboard. That whole process sounds a little like convoluted or menial, and it is. But I think it honestly just feels so good to do these little manual tasks in between trying to piece together this larger conspiracy. I love the loop of looking at your corkboard, thinking through, applying some logic and reasoning, and then switching your brain from deduction mode into task mode. I watched an interview with the dev where they talked about how you really need that negative space of walking back and forth from the archive basement to the office and doing these less complicated tasks so that you don't get just overloaded by all the documents that you're looking at on the corkboard. And so you have time to kind of mull over these details that you just uncovered. And I just think it's really immersive and effective at making you feel like you truly are like alone at this library at night doing research and like actually feeling like you're on the verge of uncovering something. If you just find that one more box of documents, you'll find the smoking gun that unlocks the mystery, basically. The game has a pretty minimal art style, flat colors, not a lot of textures. But I think it's clear that a lot of effort was put into the sound design and the atmosphere to be really immersive. I mean, it helps that it's in this first-person perspective the entire time. So you are just walking around and looking at the documents. There's like a zoom-in button so you can look a little closer at a piece of paper. You're alone in the archives the entire time. And so there's this kind of creepy paranoia that starts to set in as you collect more documents and build out the scope of the conspiracy. Each of the different rooms in the building, which there's only the 3 rooms, but they each have their own kind of subtle changes in atmosphere. When you're in the office, you can listen to the radio. But then when you move into the archive basement, it's much creepier down there. It's darker. There's a more claustrophobic feeling. The ceiling is lower. You just hear like some kind of AC unit running. It's intentionally much more discomforting than when you're upstairs in your office looking at the corkboard. And the dev also adds some really nice little touches that enhance the atmosphere over the course of the game. I won't spoil anything, but I just think it's really impressive, the attention to detail that they paid. And it really does just feel like I'm a journalist about to crack open this case. It helps that it's based on a real life conspiracy. The documents are fictitious, but the people and the events that they describe are real, which I think is a really clever way of kind of adding authenticity to your game. Like, yes, you could probably invent a conspiracy that would feel similarly intriguing, but why not just pull from historical documents? Sometimes you hit a dead end and your leads dry up. You have to consult the board to see what dates or people or places you might have missed. It just like it nails the experience of what it's going for. And the fact that it's short and sweet means that it doesn't overstay its welcome. My only real critique is I kind of wish it had more of a definitive conclusion, but I won't spoil anything here. If anything I've described sounds cool to you, please give this game a shot. Thank you for listening, and happy gaming.
Are you tired of watching your beloved characters being tortured by careless authors?
Are you sick of feeling like they could have swapped out all of the painful action and the plot would remain untouched? Subscribe to Books That Burn, the fortnightly book review podcast focusing on fictional depictions of trauma.
We assume that the characters' reactions are reasonable and focus on how badly or well they were served by their authors.
Join us for our minor character spotlights, main character discussions, and favorite non-traumatic things in the dark books we love.
Find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.